Welcome to video 3 of 3. This is a game where I'm spawning in the southeast corner as the pink star. Let's go ahead and give a recap. We've got about a dozen players left this game, but let's give everyone proper introductions. We have in the bottom right corner the original alliance with Graymason. Tinfoil, actually I didn't put his name, he's on his way out. He sacrificed his stars to Captain Morgan, myself, and Dex Jackson. So this corner of Dex Jackson, Tinfoil, and Graymason was the original 3. We brought on Captain Morgan early on with Earth Force Alliance. And that was the core 6 of us early game to mid game. As we got going, there was this big negotiation, at least on my part, of do I work with the center against the northeast or the northeast against the center? And what started to become clear was that the western side between Thing 1, Kane, and Nat 20 was going to become the biggest threat in the game. And so we agreed to work with the northeast corner. So that was Pyrodre, Vijo, Eborg, Mr. Lethal Blood, and the Jewish Star Empire. Um, and you can see now it's about a 50-50 split down the center of the map. Although, because Kane's so much bigger as an individual than everyone else, he does have the big science advantage. So they are slightly advantaged in that way. But there are these last 3 non-alliance factions that were really just super far behind everyone else that Dex has done a great job in the last day to finally get over to them and weaponize them. He just dumped all of our tech onto them so they could put up a resistance from Kane, who was just taking them over. So this little quadrant, instead of being an easy victory, I mean, they will die, but they will at least put up a fight now. And that is what we need. We need more resistance so that it just slows this Western juggernaut down. Some other things of note. There used to be a person in the middle called Prince Griffin. He is now gone. Slow used to have this chunk. All these stars here were Slow. He's getting eaten away. Slow is now getting chewed up by both Vijo, Pyrodre, Earth Force, and myself. And he is short for this game. And so I know there were conversations with the clone army and him not trusting Thing, but he's like, at this point, we just need to keep pushing in. We can't really do much about it. What's interesting is Thing 1 reached out to Pyro, Earth Force, and myself because he sees that we're the ones kind of causing the flip of the flip of the switch or the turning of the tides, or I don't know. And so let me pull up what he sent to us because I found it rather interesting. And this is a beautiful thing. So basically, his message was an out. And basically, what he said was so his current alliance is on an inevitable path to beat ours, which is debatable, although they're in good shape. You know, he's saying Nat 20, and he haven't even entered the fight, and it's a close battle without them, which it is on the northern and the southern fronts, but it's not in the center. We've been pushing them back handily. And once we get there, things are going to crumple fast in our favor. Nevertheless, his point is since we are clearly not going to win in his mind, um, he doesn't like that he's poised to get third. He wants to get first. And so he's asking us to guarantee that he'll get first and then he'll flip on Kane. We talked amongst ourselves and basically we're like, anything that gets the West fighting each other is good for us. And so this could be a test. I don't really believe that he's going to do it, but if he did, then that's outstanding. We will absolutely promise that to him and then kill him because, there's really not honor among thieves. So if you're going to backstab your starting alliance, there's no reason that we have to hold our word to you either. So nothing may come of this, but for now we said, you know what? Yeah, we're not trying to seem too overly anxious, trying to play kind of slow play it. So we'll see what he comes back with. But this is one big thing. If that were to happen, that would absolutely turn this game on its head. The other thing of note then was in the middle. So Lady Liliana has been really, yeah, Lady Liliana has really hated Dex Jackson from the beginning. They've butt heads, and she's made it her mission to work with Scare here. So you have Lady Liliana, you have scare her. And those two have been just beating down in the southeast, and they've been really stalemated for quite a while now. And so finally, um, she had a conversation, and she basically was concerned because we in the middle started to get to her northern flank. She reached out and said, basically, you know what? Maybe I'm being silly. Um, let me go ahead and pull it up and you get her words because I think it's worth getting her take on this. Basically, um, she said, "My goal was to beat Jackson, but I'm starting to think that was a stupid goal. He's not worth the effort. At this point, my goal is to support the people who've been good to me. Unfortunately, I'm sort of locked in a war with him. Like it or not, he's bent on invading me, which is sensible enough. Where would he go if not? He's only got a couple of options, so I want to survive long enough to I want to survive long enough to accomplish much of anything. I have to keep fighting Jackson. So if you're asking me to throw down against those other players that he's allied with, but Kane's been bossing me around for far too long. He needs someone to take him down a notch for sure. But I can't help if Dex Jackson is fighting me too. And so I said, I agree, but you know what? Let's talk it out. And so, again, my take of this game is I don't hold a grudge. I'm just whatever's the most self-serving thing for me. And so if we've been battling it out, but it makes sense to not battle it out to deal with a bigger threat, then I have no problems allying with a prior enemy because it helps me in the end. That's my mindset. But people get emotional and that runs hot sometimes. So I opened up a thread here and I said, if we're going to do this, we need all the people involved to be in the conversation. And so I laid out, here's my situation. Can we get along? And, you know, even Lady Liliana, I thought had a pretty reasonable response. Um, and, I tried being silly and it got into a gender thing. And then Dex replied. So let me, after we're trying to smooth this over, let me give you some, we'll call it politics Dex style. So Dex, take it away. What's your take on this?
Well, let's get this out here then for Lady Liliana's sake. I've experienced this several times when dealing with certain kinds of women and femboys IIL. They lash out at the people trying to help or be genuinely nice to them instead of those genuinely abusing them.
Okay.
It's sad. Apparently, you're not the exception to the rule here. Asterisk literally asterisk in your own words. Really sad shit. For whatever reason, you thought I was targeting you with my first MSG, to you specifically, with an implied accusation of sexism, or something adjacent based on your asterisk nick asterisk out of nowhere. I don't put up with baggage shit like that. As I'm sure Graymason and Earth Force Alliance can attest, I am an absolute proper cunt to asterisk everyone asterisk, as needed when they don't know how to act or come incorrect.
That is true.
Yet, everyone seems cool with me.
Well,
I don't know why.
that.
A natural charisma, I suppose.
He's got a
I told
charm.
you,
He does.
you're a noob. I have a
Just
soft
like
spot
that.
for noobs. I remember what it was
People
like
love
in
name
NP as
calling.
one, and like to go out of my way to help M. Several have thanked me later, or allied with me out of mentor and mentee loyalty from that. I thought you had potential, but maybe I was wrong. You've done everything I said dash, or would say not to do, or warned of in a 64 player if you'd just listened. Many tactical mistakes, inability to defeat an enemy with split attention. Hell, you allied with one of the most cancerous players in the
talking about
NP meta
Prince
dash.
Griffin.
Honestly, I think partly out of spite or rebelliousness.
I don't think he was toxic.
Unfortunately, you're stubborn, self-absorbed, highly insecure, simply toxic. Not toxic badge-worthy toxic where you have strong redeeming features. You're just not worth the hassle to deal with.
He's a sweet talker.
No enjoyment fighting you. Sad to see your attempts at taunts. Didn't need to be this way. Hopefully, you learn quick and are better in later 64-player games. Gotta know your place like I, Gray and other 64-player winners did so we could know how to raise our game going forward.
Oh, Dex.
It's on you ultimately.
So, I'm taking that as a no, you don't want to work together with Lady Liliana, which is disappointing, and I apologize to her. I mean, I think it was a long shot, and I don't think a lot of what Dex said is necessarily wrong. I think his delivery could use some improvement. I don't think he's saying things in a way that could really be heard. So that makes it tricky. So what we're do- I apologized and said, listen, here's a deal. I don't want to attack you. I want to kill Kane. So, but I need a jumping point. I basically made this cut through, and so she agreed. She's like, you know what, fine, just take the star. She abandoned it for me. She's not even putting up a fight anymore. And so to me, that's where just being able to have a reasonable conversation with someone, laying out your perspective without name calling and all that, can benefit you. Um, and so, anyway, even though we're a little bit of a standoff here, there was an agreement to let me go ahead and take one of her stars. And I do plan. Like you can see, I've got 2,300 coming here. I could make a push on her stars. I actually still might make a push on her stars. Um, if I think that's the best thing for me, that's what I'm going to do. But right now, I need to deal with Kane, who is um, right now only a little bit ahead in ship count. But once he stops fighting, that's going to change because his production's so much bigger than everyone else's. He's going to start to pull away pretty quick. So we need to get back there and deal with him. Um, so we'll see what happens. I think, between Lady Liliana being frustrated with Kane, with Thing 1 being frustrated with his position, with us basically slow should be gone soon. I think we're in decent shape, but it's still anyone's fight. I did reach out to Nat 20, who's joining the fray. I said, hey, there's some tensions. Do you think you might want to flip? He did not. You can see the Thing 1 coming up. So it's about to get, we're our end game. The final fights are going to happen. I could not be happier to be fighting side by side with Pyro Dre. And the other person who surprised me is Earth Force Alliance has done very well for someone who, hasn't played the 64 game as much, doesn't have as many badges. You wouldn't know, but Earth Forces Alliance has done an outstanding job. Dex clearly knows what he's doing tactically. His politics, he has his own style, but I'm confident in him working in the south to at least hold his ground for now while we push in the center. And then hopefully, as slow falls, then we're able to also push in the north. Cycle 21. Things have progressed in the center here. I have now captured a few stars. We've gotten this guy. We made our way over to here, to here, to here. And Lady Liliana has not responded or reacted. She basically has just kind of sat tight and let me kill her off, not tried to counterattack, not tried to defend her stars. I think she's still active. She's also moving off. This is a new star that Kane got. This is a new star that Kane got. So either she's AFK or she's just kind of just saying, all right, I'm just going to absorb as many ships as I can while Kane comes in from the backside. And so this region here will very quickly be resolved, and I will very quickly I'll grow a little bit and be face to face with Kane. That what we'll do is this is going to greatly open up our push in the south because Scare in no way can hold off. So he's at 5,600. Dex is double that alone. So even Captain Morgan is slightly ahead, and then you add Dex on top. So they're going to very quickly. And I did send a message to them saying I plan to take this from this line up. I'm going to try to take that. You guys take this whole bottom section. And so they're going to be dealing with Kane really soon down here. I'm going to be dealing with Kane really soon in the middle with me and Earth Force. A little bit north. Dre's been making really good progress on slow. He's taken, slow is essentially dead now. He will be very soon. And then up here, I don't know what's going on. I can't see that there's been a lot of movement, but I do see that Thing has moved up to this location, so he will be getting into the fight soon enough. We'll see how that goes. But right now, we're going to push to Kane here. We're pushing to Kane here. We're about to deal with Kane. Nat 20 showed up. He'd been doing blows, and Dre said he'll handle Nat 20. The only other political things, and I think I showed you before, where maybe there's some contention. There really, I don't think there will be. It was basically Thing 1 saying he wants to get first place. Where in the heck was it? but basically he's like, no, I'm too tired to. Oh, here we go and out. Yeah, he said, apology, difficult day. I don't have the mental energy to reroute ships, so forget I said anything. And so, not really a big deal. But that was off the table. And then the other one was Lady Liliana, who basically said, I was lying about Kane. He's never been remotely bossy or anything. Really a great teammate. And so, she was just, I don't know, trying to make us think that she would flip, which, I mean, it worked. I believed her. It didn't really change anything, but so, but I do appreciate her saying, I don't want to ruin Kane's reputation. He's a good person, and she feels bad. So good on her for saying that. And, I don't hold it against her. I mean, people say all sorts of things in games, but it was nice, that I know Kane plays a lot and to diss him. And then, I would have thought, oh, he was mean with his teammates, but he wasn't. He's been a great teammate. He's doing great this game. If he wins, he'll deserve it for sure. We're going to do our best to stop it. But yeah, so that's where we're at. We are now, we're really, it's four people left that we're against. Well, it's the three, right? It's Thing, Kane, Nat 20, Lady Liliana is about dead, Slow's about dead, and then the Danny DeVito clone army isn't about dead, but he's not very strong. So it's really just the world against those three. And what I like is that we're about 50% of the map, and if we can just push a little bit more, we'll be in good shape. So there we go. That's the update for today. We're at the beginning of cycle 22, making good progress. If we zoom in here, we see we've captured most of Lady Liliana's core. We'll finish this off next. The south is pushing in successfully. Dre is pushing in successfully. The only potential bad news is Thing has gotten pretty deep into the northern allies. Hopefully they can handle it. But then, you know what? We have a little treat from the Jewish Star Empire. Just take a little look at the little documentation he put together, a little documentary maybe, if you will. Enjoy this.
We have crashed through the enemy defenses and they are being pushed back on all fronts. The Central Powers can no longer oppose us. However, they are not alone. The Great Western armies now meet us on the battlefield. In the north, Slow has crumbled, but the clone army still stands strong now that Thing 1 has arrived in support. We must take care not to be defeated in detail. In the center, we have broken through and made massive progress, shattering the Central Alliance. However, Nat 20 and Kane are reinforcing with all their might to try and stop us. We must press the attack here and not allow Kane or Liliana to attack south. In the south, resistance has crumbled as Lady Liliana cannot hope to hold against the central push, even with Kane's help. However, Kane is also making headway against our southern allies. Solara has crumbled and Tiernan won't last long. Dex Jackson and Captain Morgan must be ready for a new front in the south. Kane is focusing on terraforming. He intends to crush us with overwhelming numbers. We are in the next phase of the war. Victory is near, but we must stay strong. Good luck.
Now, if that doesn't make you want to walk through or run through a brick wall, nothing will. Good job, Jewish Star Empire. I'm putting this video together. That was super fun. So anyway, thank you for that. That's really it. Just pushing on all fronts, and we'll see how the battle progresses. Cycle 23. Let's go over front by front how the war is progressing. In the center, I have really secured. I had to fight off a huge barrage of Kane's assaults. I successfully held that off. I've counter-punched him here. He's going to hold this off. But I think my next wave will take the next group of stars. There are still a few we have 7 more Lady Liliana stars to deal with. I just can't afford right now to take those. I need to keep pushing on Kane, although I'm afraid she's going to go AFK soon. But I'm doing the best I can to continue to push here. Earth Force Alliance is also having success moving up. He's on the offensive. Kane is trying to do some counter pushes, but you can see both of us have really gotten up to this point. Dre has done a great job. Slow is completely dead, and but he started to raise the alarm that Nat 20 is starting to push him back, and he doesn't know that he can hold it. So that's a little bit troubling. Um, in the south, in the south, we are making good progress. Really, for the first time this whole game, they've gotten to the middle of the map. Dex is facing Kane directly now, and Captain Morgan is continuing to grow. I don't know how they'll do because clearly they're going to be facing this entire section of stars. But for now, they're continuing to progress west, and we'll see how this where the kind of the battle line is drawn. And then up in the north, you have the thing. He came in late. Apparently, he had like 10,000 fleets and was just too much, and is able to kind of do a little explosion, and the team's trying to recover from that. Um, and then you have the Danny DeVito clone army that's really fighting strong. The weakest of the four. There's only four enemies left, but he's doing a great job holding everyone at bay. He's got 1, 2, 3. He's up against Ray's fully focused on the center. So I think it's still anyone's game. Let's take a quick look here at the intel. When you take a look, Kane's way ahead, way up on an economy. Thing made a big jump in economy. When you look at industry, you have Kane way up there. So we need to we need to start pushing them back. Science, you have a big push from them on the science front. And then if we look at a quick check on the science, they're about 3 terraforming ahead of us, which is what Kane has been researching. Earth Force has been doing our manufacturing and keeping up, but it looks like I think Nat 20 is their manufacturing guy. And then on weapons, we're slightly ahead. That's Dre outpacing the thing. So it's still anyone's game, but if I had to make a bet right now, I would say Kane wins. What'll be interesting is if he can, when we break and where it breaks, and will he ensure his 3 players get top 3 ranks? Probably, but we're not giving up hope yet. Oh, a quick edit here. So, I was sending a message to Kane. Does he not sleep? I tried to figure out what time zone he was and sneak some ships in, and he is on it with the warp gates. I think I got 3 hours out of it. Anyway, so basically said, amusingly, this was the exact moment in the game I was speaking to Slow and saying that the smart move for you was to merge forces with Pyro Dre and then attack the center together. Your boundaries are wrong, by the way, not that it mattered. And then he linked my YouTube video. And what he said is, no, you have it in your playlist on your YouTube page, so Free Intel was out of date. So I'm like, okay, so clearly I screwed that up. So when I made the video, the groups were Kane, Thing 1, and Nat, Slow and Danny. In the south center was Liana, Prince, Griffin, and Scarer. So I had it a little bit off. It was kind of hard, but he said that Eon 6T was unaligned, and there's some debate about the various groups whether anything would change. The 2 center groups had a non-aggression pact and some trading. I might agreed with one with Slow, and negotiations were underway about forming a larger group and the nature it would take. Then when my group and Pyro's group synced techs at pretty much the same moment that they did, and so I'm pretty sure we concluded our deal at the same time. Our main justification is that you're probably going to be joining forces, and if you did that, the center would be screwed without support. The coincidence amuses. Yeah, so we were both, it's right, like both sides were thinking the same thing. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting and I wanted to share. Cycle 24, right at the end, the last few ticks, or the last tick of the cycle. We are making very slow progress in the center. I think we're about to get in. I think I'm about to get onto one of these clumps, and looks like Earth Force Alliance is about to get into here on Kane, but it's been slow. He's been fighting it off, but he's been on the defensive. I know Dre's been fighting both Kane and that 20 off. So Nat 20 is the weakest of the three, but he's still, everything at Dre and still Kane as well. So I think in the center, we are slowly, slightly pushing forward. Last cycle, I spent a ton on science. If you look at, I'm at 251 now. So I really made a concerted effort to get my science up and try to at least not continue to fall so far behind. So I'm second overall in science now on terraforming. We're 4 terraformings behind Kane. So this next cycle, I'm probably going to do either full. I think I'm going to do a full economy, and then I'll do a full industry after that. But yeah, in the south, the Scare is pretty much gone now. So it is Captain Morgan and Dex Jackson against Kane in the south. So this is really, I think, the make or break war front, because like we've been stalemated in the middle. Maybe we're going to push back a little bit, but if Kane continues to push in the south, we lose. If they can push back down here, it weakens him and then it'll allow us to push back. So what Dex and Captain Morgan do in the south is going to be so important. I got a little bit antsy or annoyed, or I don't know what the right word is, but because Dex wasn't paying for his techs, and it was getting where we're getting 2 weapons and 2 terraforming and 2 manufacturing a cycle, and I was sending it to Captain Morgan and to Dex, and it just and Captain Morgan tried to pay back his Dex did on time, and anyways, I got a little pissy with him. I feel bad, but it's draining, right? Because Earth Force made a point to come down here so he could trade, but then he's not trading. Um, so so we'll see, right? Like with all the money that he didn't get for tech, he warp gated every single star. Like I still haven't done that, so it's problematic. But hopefully it pays off, because we lose if they fall in the south. In the north, it's I think we fell back a little bit, but so Mr. Lethal Blood here is going to be taking over Eborg stars, and hopefully with his 12,000 that just pushes in, and that and then Lethal Blood can get stronger. It'll make it easier to at least hold, because they just need to hold here. Well, we just need one front to push in, another 2 stalemate, and that's a win. So right now, it's most likely if they stalemate and we are mostly stalemated, that we got to win in the south. So, all right, Dex, this is your moment to shine. Get it done. Cycle 26, we have really begun to make some headway in the center battle here against Kane and Nat 20. If you zoom in, I got a foothold here on No Joy, although I think I am going to lose it, but I'll be capturing a couple of other stars near it. I think I'm going to barely capture No Hope. I've got a foothold up here. Earth Force Alliance has gotten a foothold and really been pushing in hard. Pyro Dre is about to lose, or he just lost a star. So Nat 20's been giving him some fits. But overall, Nat 20 is not, he's the weakest of the three. And I guess the Danny DeVito clone army I kind of don't count. I guess he's the fourth in strength, but of the final three, if they were to win, it would be Kane and then Thing 2. If you look at Kane, he's still pretty far ahead in everything. And then Thing 1 also starting to pull ahead. So anyway, we're making progress in the north, or in the center. In the north, it seems like they're holding their ground. Thing 1 had been in here and they're recovering. As you can see, we have Mr. Lethal Blood taking over the stars for Eborg, just to kind of fewer mouths to feed, and it strengthens Mr. Lethal Blood, and it's less coordination that's required. So I think having those two fighting up top makes sense, and then having the three of us in the center fight against 2 makes sense, and then Captain Morgan and Dex down south are fighting just against Kane. So taking a quick look here, it's I looked at the overall stats, and we are ahead. And I think at this point we're going to start to tip the scales and accelerate, because we've held our ground in the north. We're pushing in the center, and according to Dex, they're holding or pushing in the south. And now that Kane's not growing anymore, we'll be able to start to catch up. So um, typically by cycle 26, the game is a little bit more decided than it is. This one still could go either way, but I think in the last 24 hours, the fact that these stars, that we were able to make this progress and really get through that choke point, um, and hopefully we kind of see this continue, this push continue, will make a big difference. I guess the only thing to note is Lady Lilia did finally turn into a bot, which was nice in some regards because she'd been sitting on a ton of money. And if you look on the star now, um, for example, she built it up, 18 industries, 8 science, and I'm going to capture that next tick. So she'll be down just to this 1 star over here soon. And so yeah, looking good. Cycle 27. Let's go through what happened overnight. Overall, we seem to be doing well. And if you look at the stats, we are ahead in income by about 10,000. We are ahead in total new ships by about 300 an hour. We're ahead in ship count by about 50,000, and it goes on. Overall, our alliance on paper is stronger. Now it's a matter of coordination and putting that to action, which is harder. And we have to share tech with more players, which is more draining and taxing. So let's go ahead and dive in. Overnight, I blew up about 6,500 ships here on Connern, and I'm ascending another 55. I'm hoping that's enough. I just have to defend against a counterattack from this 2,500 here. I'm asking, oh, I wish you wouldn't have sent those up there, but I need Earth Force to apply a little pressure here as well. I'm more in a support role here. Pyro Dre got pushed back from that 20, but he's about ready to make a counter push. So I think in the center, we are still slowly pushing in, and hopefully we can get to Nat 20's core. In the south, personally, I sleep and Kane does not, and so he was able to get in. I'm going to defend 2 of these 3 attacks, and I'll lose 1, and I will get it back, but kind of more of a nuisance than anything else. And I'm just trying to kind of hold these ships here at bay. I really wish these boys in the south would make a little faster progress and cover this up so I didn't have to worry about my southern flank. It is all a bit obnoxious. They seem to be at a stalemate, but at least they're not losing ground. So that is good. And then up in the north, Eborg is about consumed now for Mr. Lethal Blood. He's only got his 2 stars left, and Mr. Lethal Blood has grown in power, which should be helpful. But they are saying they need more help, and they're scared about losing more ground. So we'll see how that goes. So far, they've been holding back okay, although I do see the Danny DeVito clone army has pushed in and made some progress. So I don't know if Dre's going to need to push up there a little bit or not. But yeah, so on paper, we're doing good. Now it's just a matter of, here's the total ship count updated. It's still Thing and Kane's most number of ships, and we just have to coordinate ours accordingly. If we do win as an alliance, then it's a matter of positioning within. And right now I'm sitting pretty at 112. The next closest in our alliance is Dre at 80, Earth Force 73, Dex at 66. So if we win, if our alliance wins, I'm well positioned for first, but definitely top 3. So let's go team. Cycle 28, the battle continues. On my front, I've kind of just tried to hold the line here. Overnight, Kane did launch, and I could have defended all of them, but I actually had just an error, and I moved off of the star, so now I have to go recover it, which won't be an issue. It's just going to be, he's probably going to go start havoc across these other stars. Just going to be a pain to clean up, but I'll defend all these other ones, and then it looks like finally the south is going to cut off this, so I'll stop having this pressure from the south and can just focus on my western front. Earth Force seems like he's making some good progress. The biggest issue is the north has started to fall. You can see Danny DeVito clone army has gotten all the way over here. Basically, Vijo is on his last breath, and Lethal Blood is not able to hold both him and the thing off. You see, Lethal Blood's at 40,000, so he's only 10,000 up, and that's not enough to handle the extra 70,000 for thing one. So we are losing in the north, and so Pyro Dre needs to divert his attention to start dealing with the north, and so it's just up to Earth Force and I to hold back this mid. So I think I'm just going to play defensive, not try to advance, just use defensive bonus, and let this play out, let that play out. So that's where we're at for this cycle. Cycle 29. The fighting continues. We are making slow progress in the middle. Earth Force Alliance and myself are starting to very slowly make some progress. What's been troubling, though, is the Danny DeVito clone army has also been making progress in the north, as has the thing. And so Pyro Dre is basically saying, hey guys, I need to divert some troops up top, and so kind of hold the fort in the middle. So that'll be interesting to see how this plays out, because we're basically losing the top while we were slowly progressing in the center. What I'm hearing, and I'm seeing reports, and you can kind of see there's decks, we're pushing them back in the south. So Dex is excited. Captain Morgan's doing great. So this is Southern Front, I think, does make or break the game. Kane does not sleep. I've tried every hour of the day, and like I had to defend against a bunch of attacks from down the south. But luckily, as the Southern Front makes progress, it'll be easier and easier, and I can just focus on this little cluster right here. Everything's routed that way. Well, almost everything. We'll see where it goes. Oh, the other thing that's of concern is they started to pull ahead in weapons, and they already were ahead in terraforming, and they're pulling ahead in manufacturing. So this is a problem, because when you look at, they're already, of course, they're up in ships, but it's the science that's going to start killing us, right? You have Kane and the Thing, and even Nat is up here, and only Dre and I. So luckily, Earth Force is starting to catch up now, but we've gotten behind in our main techs, and that's starting to hurt us a little bit. But if you look at the MP stats page, we still statistically are ahead, and hopefully we'll continue to make that up in the south. Cycle 29, the end is near. It looks like Kane's going to get first place, but I will get second and Pyro Dre third, most likely. The way that it panned out is pretty clear, and I'm going to let Kane say it himself, that I said, great game, well-deserved win. He says, thanks, you too. It's been a great fight, probably the closest run and most fun 64-player game he can remember, and he's sad to end it this way. For those it's not obvious, he was losing in the south. I was about to make some big progress in the center, and with Dre pushing back the Danny DeVito clone army up in the north, they knew that if they played it out typical, they couldn't win. So with Pyro's imminent defeat of Danny and Nat 20's collapse was inevitable on our side. I hope he doesn't become a nuclear option. So basically, yeah, he just is consuming his allies, and probably the next, I don't know, however quick he's pretty quick, he'll end the game. So well-deserved win for Kane. I'm happy to get some rank points out of it. And there it is. Game over. Congratulations, Kane. I take it as a bit of a moral victory to be able to get second place in the 32 rank points. As it turns out, Mr. Lethal Blood went ahead and did get the third place, which I think makes him happy. So, and I don't think Dre cares about rank points. He cares about badges. So we're going to award some badges next. You have Earth Force, Dex Jackson, Danny DeVito, Captain Morgan, Thing 1, Nat 20, Vijo. All having great showings this game. Super intense battle. Let me go ahead and just show you here Kane's good game speech. So, well, folks, unless you've managed to pull off a truly epic last-minute star takeover, yeah, we're in the last hour. So, It was a pretty epic and exhausting game, and certainly kept me on my toes in the north, and the center, and the south, and the other south. Okay, maybe fighting four and a half of you at once wasn't the wisest course of action, but it sure was fun. Sorry to end it this way, but you had us on the ropes, and it seemed like our last resort. Absolutely, I didn't know for sure, but it did seem like we, because of the south, had momentum, and once Dre was stopping them up to the north, we were going to eventually win. And so they did the only thing they could to salvage it, which was give all their stars to one player. And again, I mean, honestly, everyone in this battle across the entire map have my respect, played great, and let's hand out some awards. First up in the awards is Kane. Kane never slept. I tried every hour of the day. I staged attacks, and he was absolutely on it. I'm fairly certain he didn't sleep the last week of the game. He fought on every front. He fought everywhere, and I actually learned a few new tricks. Like in the last video, I'm like, oh, I'm going to win here. And then all of a sudden I look up and like, nope, he just added 20 industry and then I died anyway. And so just little things that the level of tactical play was absurd. So let's go ahead and give him a badge of honor. So for Kane, I'm going to say he's a sentinel. Some players are always watching, waiting for you to make that one crucial mistake. The player who never sleeps. Kane, you deserve the Sentinel badge. I think that may have been his first Sentinel badge too. Look at that. There we go. How exciting for Kane. All right. The next award I'd like to give out is for Earth Force Alliance. Now, if you recall, Earth Force, I killed his ally to force him to ally with me. But from that point forward, he held no grudges, and he was absolutely outstanding, a great fighter, never greedy, on it all the time. He and Dre and I felt had a great chemistry in the middle. For Earth Force, when I was looking through these options, I thought he was a lionheart. He showed great courage in the face of adversity. He held up against all odds to support the Alliance in victory. So Earth Force, you have the heart of a lion. The next award I want to give out is for Pyro Dre. Pyro Dre is someone who I fought against, and he defeated me. And I was anxious to get the chance to play with him as an ally. And this was a game where, when the opportunities presented itself, I definitely was happy to take that up. And one of the things that Dre did was provide the science, and he was our weapons man, and kept us in the game. There's a lot of awards that he could have earned, but for me, and I don't know why I have to click it twice, but for me, when I think of him, I think this game, he was the mad scientist who pushed our science to keep up against all odds. So thank you for being our scientist. And I think that's the first scientist badge he has too. So very cool. And last but not least, I can't leave out Dex Jackson. Dex was just a source of entertainment the whole game. He's a good player, and man, he's a lot. He's a lot, and that's saying for someone who's a lot. So when I think of Dex Jackson, and I wish I could give him a toxic badge, even though he wasn't toxic. But I think for Dex, what I would like to give Dex is something that really sets him apart from everyone else. He's a strange dude, man. He is a strange one. Not from a role-playing perspective, but we are always confused by Dex. So let's go ahead and just give him that right now. Dex, you're a weird dude, man, but I love you. That'll be it. That's the badges for this game. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, click on the link for the next episode. And don't forget to click subscribe for more content.